Hi everyone. As they mentioned, I'm a freelance narrative designer, and this talk is all about one of the major core responsibilities of being a narrative designer, which is championing the narrative. But this talk is going to be about all the learnings that I've had over my career of how to get the team to start championing that narrative with you. But first, what is a narrative designer? In the Game Narrative Toolbox, which is a fantastic book I would recommend, a narrative designer is defined as the champion of an interactive story who works in the field of narrative design and combines the roles of a writer with that of a game designer. Working with other departments, the narrative designer organises and integrates the story into the game using the available mechanics, designs, and assets. So, how do we get our team to consider the narrative when designing a game? First, we'll start with meetings. The importance of narrative meetings can help us start a task for someone, figure out if a task is complete, and help others on the team better understand how the narrative is impacting their task and how they will be representing it through the completion of it. First, we'll need to figure out who we actually want to speak to and what we'll want to be speaking about. Through Agile, we can help plan these meetings. So, for example, when you're in your sprint planning sessions or general stand-ups, make sure to take notes to see what people are working on and how you can help them. Then, when you're giving your time estimates, make sure to account for the meetings that you're going to be having over the projected sprint period. Then, I would also recommend working alongside production, which you should be in general. Be nice to them, they're great. And have them work alongside you to try to align your tasks with other departments so you're all working towards a shared goal together. Then, once you've figured out who you want to talk to and what about, you should consider anyone else you may need to invite. These could be department heads, producers, quality assurance, external stakeholders, or experts in the tools or subject matter that you want to discuss. An example of this all coming together was when I worked on Aspire 2. So the level designer was working on the mission select world. And because this was VR, the player is in this space a lot. And this meeting was important because it also, the level would also change as the story progressed. So to prep for the meeting, which is the second step, I created a meeting brief that contained information like the importance of the location to the story, the changes to the level based on what part of the story the player was up to, and also the overall tone and theme that this needed to represent. So for example, for this, it was a high-tech spy fantasy. Once that was done, I realised I would need to speak to the level designer, the producer, art lead, and game director to discuss the narrative and more as we collaborated together on how we could achieve this. An example of what we got out of this meeting was near the end of the game, soldiers would perform a hostile takeover and appear in locations they weren't in before. If we hadn't have had this conversation, the art team would have never made the models and textures for the soldiers, and the level designers would never have actually made enough space for these characters to take space. It's a great domino effect to catch, and these meetings also, which is really important, create a line of communication between other departments so they start coming to you with their ideas and excitement just as much as you do with them. And now we'll talk about documentation. So as a narrative designer, you write plenty of different types of documentation like BARCs and character biographies, but not every team is going to use all of these. And to figure out how and what your team will need to succeed, when you first join, you can ask them what they've used in the past, if anything. If none, feel free to pitch some depending on who you're speaking to. And then you can ask for a list of questions they ask themselves when assigned specific tasks. For example, what sound does this object make if they're working in sound and SFX? Then you can use this list of questions and everything you've gathered to create documentation and fill it in with key headers and subject matter. An example of this was when I worked on the RPG Broken Roads. The art team didn't need any guidance on the clothing and personal effects of characters, but on Aspire 2, the art team actually required reference on pretty much all of pretty much the entire makeup of how they would look. So having these discussions set them and myself up for success. In conclusion, as you continue to work with your awesome team, you'll see that they'll start picking it up and considering it in advance without you even needing to approach them about the narrative. And also they'll start championing it in every aspect of their task. This QR code here has a link to some documentation-specific and department questions that you can ask yourself when talking to these departments, and also writing documentation. And in general, I think it's great questions to ask yourself across any discipline, as we all learn from each other. Otherwise, I am a freelancer, narrative designer, QA and producer looking for work. So if you want to chat with me and talk to me about your awesome game, I'd love to hear about it. I've got my socials and my website as well. And thank you very much for having me tonight.